My town doesn't have police. They have something called the Watchers. Hey Reddit. I've lived in this town my whole life, but lately I've started to think I don't really know it at all. I'm not going to say where I am. If you've ever driven through here, you'd understand why people talk, and some things just don't need to be repeated. We're a small, quiet place. One grocery store, a diner, a gas station that still uses analog pumps. The kind of town that doesn't show up on GPS unless you zoom way in. And the kind of town that doesn't have a police department. At least, not in the way you'd think. We have something else. They call them the Watchers. When I was a kid, I thought the Watchers were just local volunteers, like a neighborhood watch. You know, folks who kept an eye on things, made sure everyone behaved. They wore dark jackets with a patch on the sleeve, a white circle with an eye in the middle. You'd see them walking after sunset, standing near intersections, watching. Not doing much else. No sirens, no guns, no radios. Just watching. If someone caused trouble, a fight at the bar, a break-in, a drunk driver, they'd show up before anyone even called for help. And the next morning, whatever happened would be cleaned up. No paperwork, no news. Just silence. When I was 30, a friend of mine, Mason, tried spray painting the old water tower. He didn't get far. Halfway up the ladder, two men in those black jackets showed up. They didn't shout, didn't threaten him, just waited at the bottom until he came down. They took him to talk. He came back the next day quiet as a ghost. Never did it again. Never even left town after that. When I asked what happened, he just said, they showed me something. Fast forward to last year. I moved back after college to help with my mom's house. I figured I'd stick around for a bit, save money, maybe leave once I found a decent job. But the longer I've been here, the more I've realized something's off. It's not obvious, it's subtle. Nobody locks their doors, but no one ever seems worried about crime. We don't have security cameras, yet no one ever reports break-ins. And if someone goes missing, we don't post flyers. We just stop mentioning them. 2 months ago, a man named Curtis opened a small repair shop by the highway. Seemed like a nice guy, quiet, worked long hours, didn't bother anyone. Then one weekend, he got into it with a local farmer over some payment dispute. People said Curtis shouted at him in the diner, told him, "You people don't run me." That night, the Watchers came. 4 of them. No lights, no noise. Just parked their black trucks outside his shop. When I drove by for work the next morning, the shop was boarded up. Curtis's truck was gone. So was Curtis. I asked around. The lady at the post office shrugged. "Guess he moved on," she said. Same answer from everyone. Almost word for word. Guess he moved on. It's like the whole town got the same memo. Then a few weeks ago, I started noticing one of the Watchers near my street. Tall guy, clean cut, black jacket, standing across from the grocery store around dusk. Didn't do anything, just stood there, hands behind his back, facing my direction. At first I figured he was just on patrol, but after 3 nights in a row, I got uneasy. So I walked over. Said, "Evening." He nodded once, didn't smile. I said, "You guys always work this late?" He said, "Always." Then he asked, "Do you feel safe tonight?" I said, "Sure, yeah. Why?" He didn't answer. Just turned and started walking down the street. The next morning, there was a note taped to my front door. Plain white paper, typed, not handwritten. It said, "Residents are not to engage the Watchers after dusk." No signature. No explanation. Just that. After that, I started paying attention to things I used to ignore. At night, the lights along Main Street all flick on at the same exact time. Every bulb, every window, perfectly synchronized. The grocery store closes at 8 p.m. sharp, no exceptions. And no one goes outside between midnight and 4 a.m. It's not a curfew, exactly, but it might as well be. Even the dogs stay quiet. like the whole town holds its breath until sunrise. A few nights ago, I couldn't sleep. I went outside to get some air. The street was empty, but I could see movement near the church parking lot, a group of figures, all in black jackets, standing in a circle. At first I thought they were talking. Then I realized they were facing inward, heads bowed, not moving at all. Just standing there, watching something I couldn't see. When one of them looked out, I ducked back inside. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I tried calling the county office the next day, asked if there was an official record for the watchers. The woman on the line paused a long time before saying, "They handle local matters. Is there a problem?" I said, "No, I was just curious who oversees them." Another pause. Then she said, "It's best not to be curious." Click. Since then, I've seen more of them. Not just on my street, everywhere. Outside the diner, behind the school, standing at the edge of the woods. Always facing the same direction. Always watching. One night, I looked out my window around midnight. There was one standing in my yard. Not moving. Just standing there, facing my house. I shut the blinds, heart racing. When I looked again, he was gone. But in the morning, there were footprints in the grass. Boot prints. Perfectly parallel. And in the center of them, a small white card. The card said only one sentence. "Do not mistake safety for freedom." I haven't told anyone. Not my mom, not my friends. Because everyone here already knows. You can see it in their eyes, that quiet agreement not to talk about what keeps this place so calm, so quiet, so perfectly under control. And maybe that's the trade. Maybe peace isn't something you earn. Maybe it's something you're allowed to have, as long as you don't ask who's keeping it. Last night, I woke up around 3 a.m. The house was dark. Through the blinds, I could see a faint white light pulsing from the street, slow, steady, like a heartbeat. I pulled the curtain back. Across the road, every house had a watcher standing in front of it. All in a row. Hands behind their backs. Heads tilted up, looking at the windows. Every single one of them facing the houses. Watching. I don't know what's happening here anymore. But I finally understand something my father used to say before he passed. This town doesn't have crime because it doesn't have secrets. The watchers make sure of that. I think he meant it as comfort. But now I realize it wasn't the crime they were preventing. It was the questions. You're watching Frozen Sora, where the stories get darker the deeper you go.